Yeah, boy. Give her a huge round of applause.
Namaste everyone, my name is Paristish and today I'm gonna sing Chahu Main Aana.
Now we'll have
से ही ना
Give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
Superb. Okay, that's the end of the cultural program. Now we get back to the IMD. Anchors, are you ready? Please come on the mics and let's MID. Nah. First we were in the Indian Idol, now we have come back to the MID now. Slip of the... Anchors, could you please come on the mic, please? Okay. Prasadhi, check your mic, please.
Hello. Hello.
Once more.
Hello. 1, 2, 3.
Is it fine? You want it louder? Okay. Yeah, say hello.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. Hello. 1, 2, 3. Hello. 1, 2, 3.
हेलो चेक ये आवाज क्या आ रही है just once again just touch this mic is it making a noise what was that noise earlier that noise came वो काय का था संजय सर
Hello, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest has arrived. Let's rise as he enters the hall and greet him with a big round of applause.
Namaste, Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Navneet Mathur, distinguished guests, esteemed judges, participating teams, and their teachers' squads. On behalf of Mayoor School, I, Prasiddhi,
And I, Unnati,
extend a very warm welcome to you at the closing ceremony of the Mayoor School Invitational Quiz and Debates 2024.
I now request our principal, Shri Sanjay Khati, to address the gathering and welcome the chief guest. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, am I audible at the back? Yeah, I take the advantage of being a principal and being here, time and again, because it gives me a chance to talk to all of you. It's always a privilege, but also the principals love to talk. So on the pretext of introducing the chief guest, Navneet Mathur, and I'll call him Navneet from now on, I'm here to talk to all of you again. If you remember, am I audible? Because I can't hear myself. Am I audible? Okay. If you remember, during the inaugural function, I was talking about, the quiz, and who are you if you don't have a question? Similarly, when we talk of debate and the way they have, sort of unfolded in the past 2 days, I get to realize that who are you if you don't have an opinion? I think all of us are defined to a great extent to what we believe in, what opinion we nurse or hold and give strength to. I think everybody here has a right to have an opinion. And I think this is something that defines all of us as individuals. And when we organize a series of debates and when we organize quiz, I think that this is precisely what we're looking at. We want young people to have an opinion. We want young people to have an idea. We want young people to question themselves and to question the world around them. I think that's the meaning of having this entire experience that we have, sort of dished out to all of you in the last 2 days. I'll come to the introduction of the chief guest in a little while from now, but we're talking about a lot of things, and that got me thinking. I mean, educational clairvoyance, they say, is the need. All educators need to kind of, dabble with this idea of educational clairvoyance. There are two things. One is, I think, if I remember it correctly, Dennis Diderot, who talked of the fourth wall. If you're familiar with theater, if you've done a little bit of drama here and there, you'd know that there's something that's called the fourth wall. Then there's something that's called as the empty space by Peter Brook. When we organize, and we do it very, very consciously, when we organize such events, I think it's a very conscious, a very deliberate attempt on our part to give you that fourth wall, to give you that kind of an empty space where you can create life for yourself. That's very, very important. So what you do and what transpires and what transacts in the classroom is pretty mundane. We want to create that experience for all of you that you would possibly categorize as extremely magical. So that is what we intend to do. So having said that, I think debates, over the years have evolved into what we see of debates these days. I'm an old timer, and this is what What might just be true for many things in life, I think it's also true for debates. I think it's something that should be more spontaneous. It's something, I don't know whether Keshav and Parth would agree with me or not, because debates have evolved and metamorphosed and changed with the passage of time. But I think what is important is, I don't know how many people would endorse. It's a huge, huge chagrin to me when I see the debates in the form that they're debated these days. I think it's important for debates to be organic. It's important for debates to be, or any communication for that matter, to be extremely spontaneous, to be derivative, and maybe it could just be intuitive. There's so many things, you know. So what we do is, Ivan, so he's the one who's who manages the sound, and he does a pretty bad job of it, yeah. I'm friendly with you always, Ivan, am I not? So I was talking about, you know, debates being organic and debates being derivative and intuitive. I think what we have done is we have, you know, kind of stifled debates into this, you know, cage of mediocrity. You know, we have stifled the, you know, creativity. We have stifled and sort of strangulated, if I may use that word, you know, in the structure, in the jargon, in the terminology, in the strategy. I think matter, manner, method is what you judge people on, Parth, am I right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And matter, manner, method is matter, manner and method is okay. I think, you know, that's not as important to me. I think what is more important to me is if you have content to say, and if you have a language to say, irrespective of whichever language you are good at, I think that serves the purpose. And if you feel strongly about it, if you have the character in the spine, as I mentioned, you know, in the inaugural address, to stand up for what you believe in, I think it serves the purpose. But debates, as we know today, are tournaments between side government and side opposition, and, you know, fancy jargon and terminology interspersed and strewn all over, which I personally do not endorse. I've done a bit of debating. My parents did not raise me to debate. Old generation, you know, old timers like me, old people like me. We have been brought up by our parents not to argue, which is in quite a dichotomy to the present world that we all live in today. I mean, everybody out here, and this is what I'm proposing to all of you, propagating probably to a great extent, where you need to stand up, you need to have an opinion, you need to have a strong opinion, and you should have the character to get up, stand up, and speak up for yourselves. And this is the way we can actually drive the world. So what you say in a debate, or for that matter in any communication, is not as important. It's probably redundant, I'd say. How you do it is also, once again, quite redundant. What is most important is why you're saying what you're saying. And if you find this fundamental answer to this fundamental answer to this fundamental question, you'll be able to realize that it is, you know, it gives you answers to almost everything that's happening all around you. So what and how are two things that are not as important as why is. Rebellion. I think debate, if I may, Parth and you know, Keshav, if I may say so, it's a kind of a rebellion. I mean, during my time, we used to do something that's called as a turncoat debate, you know, one of the formats. So we used to do jam, you know, extempore, and we used to do turncoat. And so you had to actually kind of debate against yourself, against your own convictions, and which was pretty interesting, but quite obviously nothing as close to the debate that we do now, that we engage in now. So I think it's very important. All young boys and girls here, I'll take this opportunity to implore all of you. Initially, in my inaugural address, I'd mentioned about imperfection being beautiful. Let me also, I mean, you saw Mayoor failure, we, as a school, celebrating failure. That's another important thing. The third thing that I'd like to tell all of you is, rebellion is an act of creativity. So come to think of it, if you're voicing your opinions, it is an act of rebellion. So every person has an opinion, and that is what drives the world. And this is what Navneet and I were talking a little while ago. So absolutely wonderful. Navneet has been waiting for a patiently, I mean, he's been waiting patiently for me to introduce him. So I'll just come to that now. Sorry, Navneet, one fine morning I gave him a call, and probably he was a little groggy in the morning. And we had I mean, this is the first time when I, got talking to Navneet, and I was pretty impressed with whatever little conversation we have. I wouldn't claim that I know Navneet well, but people on my staff know him pretty well. They're pretty impressed with the type of work that he does. And that's how, we thought of inviting you over. So thank you so much, Navneet. Thank you for your lady wife. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. It means a lot to us. In the course of a conversation, I got to know that Navneet also happens to be a parent of the school. We didn't know about it, in fact. So this was a revelation that we got to know a little while ago. Not only a parent, he has been in the school for 11 flat days. Am I right, Navneet? 1989. So for 11 days, he has studied at Mayoor school, which is quite an honor. Better something than nothing at all. So that gives us a lot of strength that we are inviting you here, an old boy, if I may call you that, though you didn't submit the TC then. Old uncle. You're a young man. That's why I dare call you, Navneet. So he's an engineer. He's an entrepreneur. But I think when I was going through his bio, one interesting word that came across was, there are two of them, in fact. One was, trenchless, what is the trenchless technology? And that gave me, I'm a person who believes in trenches, because the deeper you dig, the more gold you discover. Am I right? But Navneet, on the other hand, believes in just the opposite. He believes that trenchless technology, and it's an amazing technology. We are talking about it for a little while, and we got to know that for the optic cables and optic fibers, they don't need to actually go sub-earth, subsoil. And you can actually, without, sort of that excavation, you could lay the cables, which is extremely interesting. But when it comes to human beings, I think it's always advisable not to go trenchless. So he's an engineer, he's an entrepreneur, he's a postgraduate from Rochester in New York, and both his children are studying. One is in New York University, and the other one at Rutgers. So both his children, so they're both, the husband and wife, are facing an empty nest syndrome. I'm sure all of your debaters, you know what an empty nest syndrome is. So that's how they have spared their afternoon. They didn't have anything better to do, so they decided to spend this afternoon, glorious afternoon. It's going to be very soon, with all of us here. He's a sportsman. As we were walking to the MPH, he told me that he has played cricket at the state level. Ranji also. Under 16. Absolutely an amazing achievement. I think while academics is okay, what is more important is what defines you as an individual would be, sports and anything physical. So that is very interesting. He's been a traveler, an avid traveler. He's traveled 50, that's quite a bucket list. Have you already been to 15 countries or 35? He has already been to 35 countries, and his bucket list, which is quite a list, I must say, and he intends to travel to 50 countries. By when, Navneet? So 50 countries, I think travel in itself is once again a great education, a great experience. And I would encourage the young boys and girls to travel as far as they can. So I think I've done justice to you, Navneet. I think it's a pleasure to have you here. Not only you, but also your lady wife. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. In a little while from now, we'll witness the debate. And this house regrets the human desire to leave behind a legacy. I was hoping that you'll probably go in and decide the topic on geriatrics, because I'm old and it concerns me, and I want to be as young as you are always, and therefore I thought you'd probably choose the teams that are there. Which two teams are here? One is Scindia and the other is Jayashree Periwal. So I was hoping that you choose the worst one, which was about aging and the money that is being pumped into it, and the fact and the hope that things can turn around for old people like me. So it was, just to give an old man like me some hope. I'll end by saying two quick things. One is by Oscar Wilde, and he says, what you want to be, today's world is like that. If you want to do something in life, you'll do it. If you want to become something in life, it is inevitable. sooner or later, you'll probably become one. And that is precisely what your punishment is. Come to think of it, yeah. I like that look on your face. Come to think of it, you want to become, a medicine, you want to join medicine, you want to do engineering. I mean, that is what you want to do. And if you put in the right amount of hard work and sweat and tears and toil to it, I'm sure one day you'll achieve that. And that is precisely your punishment. Another thing that young children do, they're trying to find the way in this maze of a world, this labyrinthine world, which is like a catacomb. We don't know where we are headed. Most of the time, we are trying to find a way in moonlight. And once again, your punishment, if you do so, would be that you'll be able to see the dawn. You'll be the first to see the dawn of the day. I think on this profound note, is it profound? Is it profound? Think about it, just a little food for thought. So find your way in the moonlight, and you'll be punished with the dawn of the morning.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the participating teams have been debating on a variety of motions over the last 2 days. The finalists have rightfully secured their place, having breezed through the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. Kindly be informed that the motion for the final debate was given to the finalists 45 minutes prior to the debate. Now, let's begin with the last and final round of the competition.
I invite the participants, the chairperson, and the timekeeper to take their seats on the stage.
Hello. Check. It's working. Warm greetings and welcome to the final round of Mayoor Invitational Debate 2024. The motion for this debate is, this house regrets the human desire to leave behind a legacy. Team Jeshi Parival High School is the side government and Team Sindhya School is the side opposition. The adjudicators for this round are Ms. Nitya Arora, Ms. Garima Singh, Mr. Rishit Das Gupta, Mr. Ayush Kanojia, and Mr. Priyansh Agarwal. I welcome all the adjudicators. Kindly note the constructive speeches will be of 5 minutes each and the reply speech will be of 3 minutes. For the constructive speeches, a warning bell will be sounded at the end of the 4th minute and a final long bell at the end of the 5th minute. The warning bell for the reply speech will be sounded at the end of the 2nd minute and the final bell at the end of the 3rd minute. The first and the last minute of each of the constructive speeches will be considered as the protected time and no POI will be allowed during the same. And hereby with this, I declare the debate open. I invite the Prime Minister to open their speech.
Kindly note, I will begin on a self-count of 3, 2, and 1. A very good morning, honorable judges and my fellow debaters. As the leader of government and the Prime Minister, I stand to firmly state that the human desire to leave behind a legacy should not drive individuals, rather it should be the excellence for the present. Now, allow me to begin by defining a few key terms here. Firstly, human desire refers to the selfish intent of wanting a said thing, be it material or a hypothetical prospect. This brings me to my next definition, that is the definition of the desire to leave behind a legacy. What this means is that it may be defined as the external force that incentivizes human conscious to commit any and all good. Not because he's human, or not because what he's doing is morally right, but simply because something is guaranteed to him at the end of it. Now allow me to define the stakeholders. The stakeholders, without any doubt, are going to be the entirety of mankind and society at large. Through this debate, we will be proving that any and all good being committed by any person must not be a direct phenomena from the extrinsic driving force of legacy, but simply because they are human and it is right. Now, allow me to begin by asking all of you one simple
POI.
question. I'll be taking POIs after I'm done. One simple question. Why do you do what you do? Why do you thank your mother when she packs your bag? Why do you compliment your peer mates after they're done with their debates? Do you expect them to remember you for the rest of their lives? Certainly not. Isn't it insulting and a mockery of the very essence of the human nature when any action committed by an individual is backed up by the mere selfish or narcissistic intention of wanting to achieve something in the distant future? Oh, I'll do something great. I'll do great stuff. I'll help society. I'll not commit any wrong. I'll donate to the poor simply because the future shall know my name. Now, how can I call that good? How can I call that morally right? What I call that is selfish. What I call that is morally flawed, because it is. All it is doing is practically turning any and all good committed by any human in society into a mindless transaction. For what? For legacy. Think of it this way. All the mighty greats, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, M.K. Gandhi, more recently Malala Yousafzai, yes, indeed, they left their legacies, but ironically not wishing for a legacy in the first place. Why? Their primary driving force and goal was to think about the present society, was to think about the excellence of the present society, both theirs and the world's, in the imperative present. Had they been drooling over this concept of legacy, of being reimbursed or recommemorated in the future, their views would have been poisoned and biased towards what the majority thinks. They would not be thinking about change or any radical ideas. I'll now be taking up POIs.
Speaker, as you said that Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai, they all left a legacy. So don't you think that they had a desire to bring a change in the world in terms of education, in terms of freedom, that the legacy was left behind?
I would request that side opposition listen to the definition that I gave very clearly, because I vividly stated that as a substitute for legacy, what should drive a human being is their desire to commit excellence in the present. The excellence for society in the present. That brings me to my next point. Allow me to pick up from where I left. This selfish intent of wanting to create a legacy initiates wars. Hatred is born so as to establish their name and have their name engraved in history. Hitler wanted Germany's name to go down in history. The British colonized almost half of the entire world and depicted Britannia sitting on a globe as their legacy. Their legacy, which still stands. Selfish. What this does is act as oil to the flames of selfish and imperialistic forces. Today, if a person sees that, oh, this X person did good for society, he did everything right, but he was not given any recognition. If legacy was their singular aim and goal, they would not do anything good for society, because they have seen that people don't get recognition. Thus, what precedent are we setting for society? Simply a morally flawed one. So for these reasons and many others, I have never been prouder to propagate. Thank you.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 49 seconds.
The leader of opposition is now requested to put forth their stance.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you one question. Why did the proposition come here and debate? Because they have a desire to win. Because they have a desire to leave behind a legacy, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what we on the side opposition have been telling since the beginning of our times. Greetings to the House at large. The motion under today's hammer states that this House regrets the human desire to leave behind a legacy. And I, being the leader of my opposition, I being the leader of my team, it is my duty to explain the keywords, lay down the burden of proof, provide the House with stakeholders of today's debate, give the arguments and explain a few of them. Ladies and gentlemen, the first keyword of today's debate is human desire. Human desire is subjective. What may be desired for me may not be desired for him, and what may not be desired for you. And that is what we on the side opposition have been telling. Right? For the House, human desire is the passion, the want, the hope to bring about a change in the world. Right? And what we on the side opposition is saying that of course there's a limit to desire, right? But eradicating desire as a whole concept because of some negatives, because of some abuse, is a total absurd argument in the first place. Which brings me to my second keyword is legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, again legacy is subjective. They talked about Mahatma Gandhi leaving a legacy, right? Some people think that Mahatma Gandhi was the cause of India's partition in the first place, whereas on the other hand, some people believe that Mahatma Gandhi was the cause, he was the person to bring everybody. That's the legacy, because it's always open to interpretation. I am leaving behind a legacy. Now that's bad or good, that is subjective to human grace, that is subjective to the audience in the first place, right? One must understand the fact that human desire is very important. The extremes of human desire is again very important. Now since the House proposition did not set the House, we would like to set the House in favor of human global world, right? Now what is the burden of proof from the side opposition? It is that we, the side opposition, is in favor of human desire to leave a legacy, right? Because legacy and desire, it's really important for the world to move on, to have a hope, right? Because without legacy, without desire, the world is stagnant. Without desire, human desire, the world cannot function in the first place, right? One must understand the fact that human desire is inevitable, ladies and gentlemen. It is everywhere. Every single thing on this planet Earth is an outcome of human desire. I am coming up on this stage and speaking because I have a desire to speak for a debate. The judges are speaking because they have a desire to judge. I will take it later. And every single thing is an outcome of human desire, which leads to the legacy, which leads to leaving a legacy, right? Which brings to my first argument is that desire is the basis of human race and action. Without desire, there is no function. And without the function or desire, you can't leave a legacy in the first place, right? It is a catalyst to the fulfillment of the satisfaction that human get in the first place, right? And the second argument would be that it is the ideal of satisfaction. Every single thing on this planet Earth is an outcome of desire, ladies and gentlemen, because what is the origin of desire? It is the need to be satisfied. It is the need to go forward. Yes, POI.
So by emphasizing upon this concept of legacy, are you not turning the concepts of good and bad, the desire to do good and bad, into a simple transaction? Into a transaction that if I do good today, the world will remember me as such. If I do bad today, the world will remember me as such.
Thank you for the question. What I meant, of course, if you had listened carefully, was that legacy is open to interpretation. I would leave behind a legacy, and the one side of the audience would think that, oh, I left a good legacy because I was reasonable for this. Whereas on the other side of the house, people would think that he did something bad, right? So that's what we have been proposing, that leaving behind a legacy is inevitable. The human desire is inevitable. Now it's open to interpretation that for me, that legacy is good, or for me, that legacy is bad, right? Which brings to my second constructive, is that legacy is a necessary to bring a change, right? Desire is a necessary to bring a change in the world, which would ultimately lead to legacy, right? The side opposition is focusing on the problems rather than the system, right? Instead of addressing these issues and preventing these, they want to eliminate and eradicate human desire as a whole. The mentality of the people they talk about, right? We want to instead of changing the mentality of the people that, oh, this human desire has a limit, they want to eradicate human desire as a whole, right? The Prime Minister of the team comes and talks about how it will be mockery and selfish of the other person to have desire, but they are only looking at one side of the coin. Every side has a two coin. Even I have a selfish desire I have a desire to be selfish. Even I have a desire to win this debate. Similarly on their side of the house, but they are just looking at one part of the house, right? They gave an example of Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai. Why did they leave a legacy in the first place? Because they had a desire to bring a change in the world. They had a desire to have an education system in the world. They had a desire to have a freedom system in the world. Human desire desire is a huge, vast, subjective concept. Eradicating, eliminating human desire as a whole will bring nothing in the world but chaos, because humans work on human desire, right? There's a hope in human desire, and the side proposition truly fails to neglect it just because human desire can lead to something bad. So proud to propose. Thank you.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 13 seconds.
The House will now hear the Deputy Prime Minister.
Mic check. I'll be beginning on a self count of 3, 2, 1. Honorable jury, members of the House, as the Deputy Prime Minister, it is my honor to elaborate upon the arguments presented by my Prime Minister and to rebut the claims of the opposition leader. Now, the opposition leader asked us, why are we here? Are we here to win? No, we are here to become better debaters. That is not to leave behind a legacy, but that is self-motivation. That is what we are arguing about. Now, let it be noted, we are not opposed to the concept of legacies as a whole or the concept of desire as a whole, but the desire to leave a legacy. That is what they have not defined. If people are only motivated by the desire to leave a legacy of what the future will think about them, their actions become misguided and, in essence, influenced by the current norms of society. To elaborate upon that point, my opposition claims individuals would be motivated solely by what society will think of them in the future. Yet, panel, consider this. Over centuries, society evolves. It has evolved immensely. One has no earthly way of knowing what the society will be like in the future. Our vision of the future is influenced by our perceptions and our prejudices in the present, of the society in the present. If I try to think of what society will be in the next 100 years, there are some core values, such as equality of all human beings, that I will consider to be immutable. Yet that may not hold true in 100 years. Therefore, my actions today will be guided by those values. However, that may not hold true for the future. If I wish to leave a mark in the future, it is only natural that my actions are guided by the values that I believe will be present in the future. Now apply the same concept on the past. But the values of gender equality, social reform equality were fever dreams. Science was, as we assume it, was a fever dream. But over the last few years, science has emerged. Now, if social reformers or scientists were guided solely by what society would think of them, in the present and the future, they would not oppose these values. They were deemed madmen, they were deemed heretics, they were deemed insane. And to the extent of their knowledge, they would be recognized by history as such. Yet they undertook reforms, yet they conducted experiments and proposed theories because they believed they were right. They were not guided by the desire to leave a legacy, but the desire to be good. And the legacy they left behind was a byproduct of that desire to help their fellow man. Therefore, the benefits of legacy that my opposition has elaborated upon are not exclusive to their side. They are present on our side of the paradigm as well. Furthermore, this desire to leave behind a legacy is the inherent cause of human selfishness. Oftentimes, while remembering the ends, we forget the means it took to achieve that end. To quote Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan hat Millionen Frauen und Kindern in den Tod gejagt, bewusst und fröhlichen Herzens, yet die Geschichte sieht in ihm nur einen großen Staatengründer. In English, Genghis Khan killed millions of children and women, and he did so with a happy heart, yet all history remembers of his legacy is the great empire that he formed. This desire to leave behind this legacy is what drives dictators, it's what drives fascists, it's what drives serial killers, it's what drives criminals all across the globe. They want to leave behind a legacy leads to selfishness. Take, for example, this capitalist system where tycoons and multi-billionaires are driven by this want to be recognized in the present as well as the future. No billionaire can hope to spend billions of dollars in his own lifetime. His primary aim is to create a legacy. And to achieve this aim of creating this legacy, he exploits his workers, he exploits society, he bypasses laws, and he bypasses basic human morality. No one can hope to spend billions in their lifetime. This primary objective was the creation of a legacy. Thus, this moral degradation of society is largely contributed to this desire to leave behind a legacy. Furthermore, following my opposition's logic, this system of legacy is the only way to incentivize people to do good. However, this system of legacy is not even the primary incentive for people to do good. The major reason is not legacy, it is the fear of heavenly judgment in the afterlife. Thus, the practicality of their argument seems to me, jury, quite doubtful, and for these reasons and many more, I could not be prouder to stand in proposition.
Panel, please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 34 seconds.
I now call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to present their case.
Greetings to the House at large. As mentioned by the Leader of Opposition, opposition believes that desire is inevitable and that legacy is subjective. Without desire to leave a legacy, the world cannot function. Now, moving on to my constructive speech, first I would like to rebuttal some of the arguments laid down by side government. They talked about how it is very narcissistic in nature and a mindless transaction to have a desire to leave a legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, what side opposition is proposing is that the legacy in itself is the impact, but what they are interpreting is that the legacy is an effect of impact, but we say that the impact in itself is the legacy of that person, and the products that are derived out of that legacy is the products that we are using in current day and age. Now, they also talked about how we, on our side of the house, we are focusing on the future. We are saying that we are the most apt people to be present, to be able to be focused on present, because we have a desire to make an impact, to have a legacy which the future people will reap fruits of, and that legacy will help, and for that legacy to come true, we have to be in present, we have to work in the present, and that accumulates and negates that point. Now, coming on to my constructive speech, first of all, I will talk about how there is a necessity of legacy for change. Second, we'll talk about how desire is a catalyst to fulfillment. Now, we have to understand that human race evolves because of legacy. Because of the impact a person leaves and that impacts the human race forever. For example, a person invents something, that is his legacy. That product in itself is his legacy. And when he's inventing something, he has in mind that I want to create that impact. I want to create a product, and that product will then further impact the society as a large, rejected. Now, we have to understand that a person has a vision. They have a vision and have the desire to achieve it. And this vision in itself is the legacy that he aims for. He has a vision to better the world. He has a vision to make the world of 8 billion people as well as a world between two people better. How will he do so? That person will do so by creating a legacy. That legacy is the impact which he incurs. Now, for example, we'll take Vivekanand. He desired for a better world, and his actions which he took can be remembered till now, and that is his legacy. Now we have to understand how that 130-year-old speech is still remembered because that person, Vivekanand, had the vision, had the desire to impact the world and to leave a legacy. We have to understand that legacy and impact are correlated. Once there's an impact, it is his legacy. That impact in itself is the legacy. Now, coming on to my second argument, desire is a catalyst to fulfillment. We have to understand that the benefits of desiring to leave a legacy have two sides of the coin. Now, we are saying that the goods are so heavy and so high on one side that we have to ignore the other side, because of the simple reason that today everything around us is a product of that legacy, because that legacy in itself is the product. Now, for example, we take languages. Languages was created because two people had the desire to communicate, had a desire to impact the lives of other people. Now, side proposition comes here, debates in that same language, and then says the desire which those two people had was wrong in the first case. Now, on our side of the house, we have to understand that that one person finds a purpose, then fulfills and works towards fulfilling that purpose. On their side of the house, we will be dehumanizing people, and there will be no purpose for which an individual works for, because of the very simple reason that the legacy a person leaves is the impact he makes, and these two things are correlated. So proud to oppose.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
Whip government side can now further debate.
Thank you. I would begin with a self count of 3, 2, and 1. A very good morning to the House at large. It is my honor to solidify and summarize the points put forth by the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. But before I begin, I can't help but acknowledge the fact that the Deputy Leader of Opposition just helped us by giving the example of Vivekanand, who in the very first place did good and ended up leaving a legacy. I also wonder why the opposition team refuses to keep their eyes and ears open in the House, because proposition nowhere in their speeches mentioned that desire is something that's bad. We just mentioned that the desire to leave behind a legacy is something that's bad. The desire to be good, the desire to be benefiting the society, nowhere is bad. Honorable panel, since times immemorial, our grandparents, our forefathers have taught us one thing which is also mentioned in our holy Bhagavad Gita. That do your job, don't think of what it reaps to you in the future. As earlier propagated by the Prime Minister and the Deputy, the government doesn't in any form oppose the idea of leaving behind a legacy. All it proposes is the desire to do so makes people to do things solely for their selfish desires. Our opponents have perceived our proposal as unrealistic. We ask why. Isn't it insulting that a human cannot be driven by the motive of societal good and is only influenced by individual gains? Honorable panel, it is very well insulting to state that a human needs incentives to be able to driven to achieve basic humanity. Honorable jury, the desire of leaving behind a legacy makes charity nothing but a transaction. And this results in complete elimination of the concept of having a goodwill, of kindness, of empathy, and, more importantly, of humanity. Even the holy act of donating becomes something that people use so that they could be talked about after they're gone. This simply makes people capitalistic, as stated by the Deputy Prime Minister. Dear opponents, it is worth noting that the desire of leaving behind a legacy makes people function according to the societal norms, taboos, and existing stereotypes that may even be wrong. Honorable panel, history recites a story that tells us that it is through breaking these existing norms and dissent that revolutionary ideas are born, debated upon, and hence eventually accepted. As already propagated in our speeches previously, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, as we know them today, are solely because they went against the social norms, only because they were driven by the desire to do the greater good of the society, and not because they were driven by the society to remember them. And well, I would also like to make it a point here that opposition, this House is not to raise political issues like M.K. Gandhi and what he did to our country. And this very ideology also proves beyond measure of doubt that the creation of legacy also happens at our side of the paradigm. The only difference being is that at this side of the panel, it is driven by the value of doing good, the value of uplifting others, of working together, and for the benefit of what the present demands. While in their world, all this is solely because a person wants to be talked about in the future, or because his children should be respected in the future, or to sum it all up in a nutshell, because they want the future to satisfy their selfish desires. The best case scenario that the opposition proposes is that people should have a desire to leave behind the legacy that runs in them. However, just in case that legacy is not awarded to one, people would simply being good. Our worst case scenario is that people maybe will do good a little lesser, but those who will do it with the full heart and hence will still prove to be more fulfilling. Our worst, still in every sense being better than their best. Well, I would like to ask the opposition one question that they've left unanswered about the imperialistic ideals that are promoted by the human desire to leave behind a legacy. To conclude, I would like to say that doing good refers to thinking of others above yourselves and your own benefit. And we have established beyond any measure of doubt through our speeches that the desire to leave a legacy in every possible way undermines this very ideology of being good. Honorable panel, with all due respect, and because of the arguments that we have brought to this discussion, we believe that this debate must be awarded to us. Thank you.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 1 second.
Whip opposition is invited next.
I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Before I start my debate, there's this one thing that has been irritating me from the very starting of this debate is their interpretation of this motion. First of all, audience, let's establish one fact in this motion, that the motion says, this house regrets the human desire to leave behind a legacy. The motion already establishes the fact that there is a human desire to leave the legacy. Today we are debating upon if we are regretting that legacy or not, and on our side of the house we talk about how we do not regret the human desire to leave behind a legacy. Well, they came here and gave big claims with big names as if they were the first people to peek inside Mahatma Gandhi's mind or Nelson Mandela's mind to actually understand what reason they had. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no action that happens without a reason. There is no action that happens without a need. A need is the origin of this motion today. First of all, I would like to rebuttal their motions and then come to the summary of our debate. The very first thing that their side of the house does today is give us an alternative for the word legacy, which is again tampering the motion, which they love to do, with excellence. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk about what they said about how excellence and legacy is something that they're mistaken for. Well, excellence is a quality, a catalyst that later builds a good legacy. It is not an alternative for the legacy. Then they come here and start generalizing all legacies as something that is, all legacies as something that are all human desires as something that are bad or sad or something that don't leave a good legacy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker very well defined legacy as an impact of our action. And legacy is a consequence that is open to subjective interpretation, like we said. Well, a legacy that today we are leaving behind, a legacy that today they are leaving behind, a legacy that today every student is leaving behind is open to subjective interpretation. You cannot call a legacy bad or good because you are nobody to make that decision for somebody else. Now, I would like to start talking about our constructives that we on our side of the house talked about. We talked about how human desire is the basis of human race. And we talked about how human desire is a catalyst of fulfillment and how legacy is necessary to bring a change. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's establish the fact that what they were talking about, that, all human desires are unlimited and can cause harm and I don't know whatnot. Let's study psychology today. The psychodynamic theory given by the father of modern psychology, Sigmund Freud, talks about the presence of ego, superego, and id. Today, the motion is talking about id, the part where we talk about the desires. But they have totally neglected the fact that there is a presence of ego and superego, which later regulates that. And then they talk about society. Well, that is literally what superego does, which is regulate our desires, our pleasures, and whatever we want as per the ethics, as per what the society thinks. Now they talk about charity. There is a reason that charity is not anonymized in our world. Everybody loves credit and recognition. Nobody would be motivated without recognition, without a legacy. Today they want to take that fact away. Why do we establish big names like Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, all of them? Because we know about them. Because They once had a reason to do something, and that reason is an action that later left a consequence, that later had an impact, and that impact is the legacy. Everybody, every action leaves behind a legacy, and everybody has a human desire to do so. And today they are neglecting the fact that nobody has a human desire to leave a legacy. What they're talking about is that the world is stagnant. Ladies and gentlemen, if there was no legacy, there were no actions. Let's get this clear. And if there were no actions, then there is no change happening in this world. We have had so many revolutions till date. All these debates that we are talking about, we are all talking about different revolutions, different changes and whatever is happening. These are all actions that leave behind legacies. And then they talk about, obviously, human nature. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's human nature to need things and to be satisfied. Well, everybody wants satisfaction. And what is satisfaction? Fulfillment of your needs. How will you fulfill your needs? You will first complete an action that satisfies you. You will first desire for something that satisfies you. When you do that something, there is an impact, there is a result, a solution. That solution later is a legacy. And that legacy, I am not defining a legacy for you guys. You guys are well aware of a legacy because it is subjective interpretation. It could be good for you, it could be bad for you. But there's always a legacy, and we do not regret it, because if there is no legacy, the world would just stop. The world won't move. There will be no revolutions. We'll be stagnant. We'll stop. And nobody wants a pause. We want to move forward. And before I end my speech, I would like to address what Principal Sir said in the very starting of the debate. He talked about how we did not choose the second motion. He wanted to know about, while we are aging, the legacy. Sir, there's a human desire to leave behind a legacy. When you're aging, you want that the ideals that you put forward are continued forward. That is the legacy that you want to leave, and you're already leaving that with all your students right here. With that, very, very proud to oppose. Thank you.
Panel, please note that the speaker spoke for 5 minutes and 28 seconds.
The House will now hear the reply from the opposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's set it clear. What we on the side opposition have been telling since the beginning of our speeches is that every single action of human is backed by a desire, and every single action has a consequences, which is an impact which equals to legacy, which they on the side proposition have been neglecting because they are not ready to contest and engage in the fact that an impact equals a legacy. What they believe is that legacy is intentional. You want to leave a legacy, so you have to think before to leave a legacy, right? They come and talk about how they do not they do not have the desire to win this debate. I never talked about the desire to win this debate. They are doing this debate because they have a desire to do debating, and their speeches is the legacy they are leaving behind. That's the impact that we on the side opposition we have been telling since the beginning of our time. It's not the desire to win, it's the desire to do things, the desire of teachers to teach the children, the desire of children to learn things, the desire of sir to travel the world and move forward, and that's a legacy he will be leaving behind after visiting 50 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about them, right? They came and talked about how let's not talk about Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai, whereas they were the first one to propose these instances and examples in the first debate in their speeches, where they talked about Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, where we on the side just oppose these debates, right? What we on the side opposition have been telling is that every action is backed by desire, because desire is inevitable in the world. Every single thing is backed by desire, and that is why every impact leads to a legacy. What they believe is that, oh, we shouldn't have a human desire to leave a legacy because a legacy is intentional. No, they are not able to contest the thing that legacy equals to impact. My speeches here is the legacy that I leave, and their speeches there will be the legacy that they'll leave, right? They talk about how nobody wants to, first of all, the Prime Minister comes and talks about how these people, Nelson Mandela and everybody, they left their legacy, right? And then on the DPM comes and talks about how nobody wants to work work to leave a legacy. The Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister are contradicting themselves because one says, oh, you want to leave a legacy. The other says, you don't want to work for the legacy, right? One must understand that legacy is subjective. It is an impact. It will be there in the world of humans. It will be there. It is desirable. It's inevitable to divide. It's inevitable for us to think that human desire cannot leave a legacy, because at the end of the day, every action has a consequence. Every action has an equal or opposite consequence, and that consequence is a legacy that we are leaving here again on the side opposition. So proud to oppose. Thank you.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
I invite the side government for their reply speech.
I'll be beginning on the self count of 3, 2, 1. Firstly, panel, note they defined legacy, they defined desire, but to them, desire and legacy were two separate concepts. How in the context of this motion, we are not talking about human desires, we are not talking about human legacy, we are talking about the human desire to leave a legacy, and that is something that they have not elaborated upon at all. We have admitted that legacy is inevitable. We have admitted that desire is basic human wants. However, we have proved that this legacy is only a byproduct of the counterbalance to regret that we have provided. That is the desire, not the desire to leave a legacy, but the desire to do good. So on the very basis of definition, we have triumphed. The benefits of desire and legacy that they elaborate upon, not the desire to leave a legacy, by the way, but desire and legacy separately. These benefits are not exclusive only to their side. They exist on our side of the paradigm as well. However, our side of the paradigm has none of the disadvantages that we have elaborated so extensively upon. Furthermore, they have not countered our premise that the desire to leave a legacy leads to greed. It drives imperialistic and fascist tendencies, it drives capitalist tendencies, and to achieve reputation in the future, one commits heinous atrocities in the present. They talk about social change, and if I may point out, they have admitted that the primary aim of social reformers and freedom fighters was the desire to make the world a better place. Now, we are not denying that a legacy was created, but that legacy was created as a byproduct of the desire to be good, not their desire to leave a legacy behind. So on the basis of all these points that I have pointed out, we believe the debate be awarded to us. Thank you.
Adjudicators, please note that the speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 1 seconds.
Thank you, everyone. I now request both the teams to take their seats in the audience. We will shortly be beginning with the closing ceremony.
Well debated, participants. That was definitely an insightful parley.
Now, may I request the convener of the event, Ma'am Karuna Tandon, to read out the report of the quiz and the multiple debates that have taken place in these 3 days.
Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. If I call it a 3-day odyssey of logic, reason, rhetoric, wit, and argument, I don't think it would be wrong. And I call it an odyssey because what began almost 7 months back when we started planning this entire thing, interacting with our chief facilitator, having repeated discussions, and again debating within the institution, having in-house a lot of preparation and all of that, almost 6-7 months of that, and it's going to be culminating within a few minutes. So for me, it has been an odyssey, though a very, very, very interesting one, and I'm overwhelmed when it culminates today. So, respected chief guest, ma'am, teacher escorts, participating students, the entire Mayoor faculty that is present here, and of course, the head of the institution, Mr. Khati, ma'am, vice principal. I said I'm overwhelmed today because what started 6 months back or 7 months back is going to culminate today. And it's kind of a feeling of, somehow relieved. A lot of pressure is released today. And at the same time, a feeling of achievement that what we had planned, the way we had planned, it's more or less happened the same way. Yes, the starting was a bit jittery. On 29th of August, we had the Mayoor Invitational quiz. 14 teams and 28 participants from those 14 teams as quizzers were there on the stage. They fought 2 preliminary rounds, and from those 2 preliminary rounds, 6 teams made to the finals. And after that final, it was the Cambridge High Court School that bagged away the coveted Mayoor Invitational Quiz Running Trophy. So well done, Cambridge, it was Cambridge High Court School, if I'm not wrong. Yeah? So I take my words back. It's the Cambridge High Court School, Jaipur. Yesterday, 14 teams again, 3 students from each team contested for 21 debates in 3 preliminary rounds. So we had 21 debates in the preliminary rounds yesterday. The 8 teams that won, that scored best on in those preliminary rounds, made it to the quarterfinals. The 4 teams that won the quarterfinals made it to the semifinals, and the 2 semifinalists and the 2 winners of the semifinal rounds made it to the finals, and we saw that exciting, excellent final round today. So in totality, during these 2 days, we have had 28 debates. Obviously, we understand what it means. A platform of lot of learning, erudition, exchange of opinions, acceptance of diverse perspectives of others, and of course, respecting each other's opinions. So the topics, they were carefully selected to challenge the intellect and the moral compass of the participants, ranging from socio-political to ethical and philosophical. Each debate was a dance of logic and persuasion, where teams not only defended their stances, but also sought to demolish the arguments of the opponents. And a panel of 8 judges, under the able leadership of 2 chief facilitators, Mr. Parth Maniktala and Mr. Gupta, Mr. Keshav Gupta, they did that fantastic job, and in fact, a very, very challenging job of adjudicating these excellent speakers. So I guess your adjudicators and the facilitators deserve a big, big, big round of applause. So please. Okay, though to the participants and all those who were present here, it's nothing new what I'm going to say. This is basically for our chief guest and for ma'am that I'd like to bring to your notice that the trophy that you saw there, the 24-inch, beautiful, majestic, elegant trophy, it's completely designed in-house, conceptualized and designed in-house by the Mayoor students and staff. And if you noticed, sir, there are 3 components to it, and before that, it's made up of pure wood, teak wood. The reason why we took wood as the medium of this trophy was that, one, the pure organic feel and the eternal simplicity that wood has, that probably is unparalleled and no metal can match that. Second is that the craftsmanship, the tradition that goes in crafting of wood, we do value a lot. And of course, the third thing that we we thought should be, in fact, the main cause why wood should be the medium of our trophy was our commitment to sustainability and ecological friendliness. Additionally, there are 3 components in that trophy. One is a circle with olive leaves carved on it. And olive leaves, we know, are a symbol of peace, dignity. So it basically means that all the contestants are supposed to speak, to battle out with words, not arms, respecting and being dignified in their approach. The second component is 2 swords which are crossed behind that circle. So the swords, obviously, because it's a contention of words, it's a battle of words, so the swords symbolize that. And the third component is that mic. So mic, obviously, is because they have to speak and they have to voice out their opinions without being undeterred, having the courage to speak out their mind. So mic becomes symbolic of that. So our trophy has meaning to it, and whoever wins it, I'm sure the most deserved person, would obviously carry our legacy to your school and probably send it back before the next season of the debates. Just to bring to your notice, the Mayoor Invitational Quiz trophy also was made up of wood, and we had MID, the 3 letters etched into beautiful craftsmanship and beautiful, deftly etched, artwork. So that the team has already taken away, otherwise probably we could have shown that to our guests. But then yes, we are extremely, extremely proud that both the trophies were designed and conceptualized at our end by our students and our teachers. So thank you so much. Now, before I end, though a lot of prize giving and other things are left, but still, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all those people who have been instrumental in bringing all of this together. So, though our principal does not like it, honestly, but I would like to extend my gratitude and thanks to you, sir, because I remember it was you who last year insisted that we should do in these debates, and that too parliamentary debates, and then he wanted to add one more feature to it, so we added quiz to it, so obviously he is the reason why all this has happened today. So thank you, sir. Ma'am has always, our vice principal, ma'am has always been very supportive, and she's always stood by us in all that we have done. So thank you so much, ma'am. My English department, all the other people, as in the sounds, music, artwork. You see the beautiful artwork all across. There at the Mount, probably, which is a wonderful place to take photographs. All of that, our art department has been working consistently and silently without making any noise about it. So I think they also deserve a big round of applause for that. Our teachers and teacher in charges, event managers, certificate and prizes team, the IT support, the media coverage, the admin department, the support staff, without whom all of this just could not have been possible. So I extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone. And thank you to all the team escorts. Thank you to the participants, because obviously it is successful because you all are here. We hope to see you next year, and we wish you all the best for the next year as well. May the best team win. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Furthering the program, let's witness a fusion of Kathak and Odissi dance forms as prepared by artists from our school.
धीरे ना धीरे ना दित्तोम तनन धीरे ना धीरे ना दित्तोम तनन धीरे ना धीरे ना दित्तोम तनन धीरे ना धीरे ना उदन धीम तदन धीम तन धीरे ना उदन धीम तदन धीम तन धीरे ना धीम तनो धनो धनो धीरे ना धीम तनो धनो धनो धीरे ना तोम तनन धीरे ना 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 धीरे ना उदन धीम तदन धीम तन धीरे ना उदन धीम तदन धीम तन धीरे ना धीम तनो धनो धनो धीरे ना धीम तनो धनो धनो धीरे ना तोम तनन धीरे ना 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 उदनदीं तधिरेना धीरेना उदनदीं तधिरेना उदनदीं तधिरेना धीरेना उदनदीं तधिरेना धीरेना धीं तधिरेना धीरेना धीं तधिरेना धीरेना धीं तधिरेना धीरेना धीं तधिरेना
Let's listen to a few melodious songs now.
Hello, check, check, hello.
हाँ शुक्ला जी
Look into your eyes, you will see what you mean to me. Search your heart, search your soul, and when you find me there, you search no more. Don't tell me it's not worth lying for. You can't tell me it's not worth dying for. You know it's true. Everything I do it for.
I now request our principal to present tokens of remembrance to the escorting teachers. Mayoor School, Ganganagar.
Mayoor Chopasni School, Jodhpur.
Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur.
Jayashree Periwal Global School, Jaipur.
Mayoor School, Noida.
Genesis Global School, Noida.
The Man School, New Delhi.
Shivnada School, Noida.
Cambridge Court High School, Jaipur.
The Scindia School, Gwalior.
Mayo College, Ajmer.
The Punjab Public School, Nabha.
Mayo College Girls School, Ajmer.
Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur. And Mayoor School, Ajmer. May I now request the principal to present mementos to the adjudicators as a token of appreciation. Ms. Nitya Arora.
Ms. Keshav Malik.
Ms. Mehel Bisht,
Hold on to the Rishit's name for now. Okay.
Miss Karima Singh,
Mr. Aniket Patra,
Mr. Rishit Gupta,
Mr. Ayush Kanodia,
Mr. Priyansh Agarwal,
Mr. Keshav Gupta,
Mr. Parth Maliktala,
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request our chief guest, Shri Navneet Mathur, to kindly address the gathering.
Honorable Principal Sir, respected and Honorable Madam Vice Principal, all the teachers, mentors, guides, organizers of this wonderful conclave event, and my dear lovely students, good afternoon. Oh, come on, you guys can do better than that. Good afternoon. Thank you. So, I'm really honored and humbled to be here because usually I don't go to schools and talk. And going to a school and talking is a very scary thing because now you're addressing kids who probably know far more than you do. So you have to be very cautious in what you're going to say because otherwise they'll think, oh my God, who did they get? He literally knew nothing. And with that in mind, I thought that debating is great because it articulates us, it starts to make us think. It's building confidence, it's building persuasion in us because we want to make a point, we want to drive that point through our oppositions because we are confident about it. So it's wonderful to have these events at school. And clearly, Mayoor deserves a huge round of applause for this conclave because they have not only organized it successfully, but they have also probably started to think bigger on the similar lines. I had the opportunity to have coffee with the Honorable Principal Sir, and he did mention that we are looking at organizing even larger, more competitive, and bigger events, and that's growth. I thought that was fantastic. But then again, brings me down to the original question, that I am an entrepreneur, I am in the business of doing business. What am I going to go and talk to the students? I mean, these kids probably know far more than I do because clearly all of you all are on Instagrams, all of you all are on Snapchats, your Snap scores are crazy. I am actually on a 900 plus Snap score with my younger kid. So with that kind of access that you have to those really funny reels which make you laugh madly at midnights, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And then I started thinking, that what would be of importance to these people that could be of significance? And as respected sir said, I love sports. In sports, I love cricket. I'm not passionate about it. I think I'm obsessive with that sport. So I started thinking that there's got to be something that I could talk to the students which will help them build their futures. Because now's the time. If you were to pluck a juicy fruit tomorrow, today was the time to plant that seed. If you were to become super successful tomorrow, make a clear mark in the various fields of your passion, of your choice, then today is the day to start preparing. All of you all have been to great hotels, resorts, buildings. They were built first on the paper and then the bricks were laid for something extraordinary. Today is the time for the young students that I am here talking to, wonderful all of you, to start building that foundation of future for tomorrow. Because if you wake up tomorrow, you may have to actually go through the cycle, the curve, which is needed for you to build something large. So then I understood that if they pick today something, the outcome is obvious. They will become super successful tomorrow. Because if they start tomorrow, then it might be too late. So, I started thinking, what separates super successful students from the ones who are average students? What is it that will make every single person in this room shine in future? Absolutely reach to the top of their ability. And what will leave some students not doing so well? I'm not going to use the word struggle, but clearly there will be a differentiator. What will make something that will give student a 10x growth in future? There's got to be something, right? If I'm able to figure out what is that thing that will give me that 10x advantage, I've hit home run. I need to know that today. If I were to tell you, I have access to something which is coming in your exam tomorrow, the first thing you'll say, can I have it? Because clearly it'll make you successful. So I started thinking, what separates super successful students of future from those who are struggling today? Let me talk about that. Maybe it's of some value to them. Maybe some will think, oh God. Because I don't want to give here any gyan, because you probably are on all social medias getting all the gyans of the world. I am not even qualified to do that. But I started to do some research. When Honorable Principal Sir and Madam invited me, I got very curious what makes students in future super successful. So I made some notes. I said, there's got to be a success. It just can't be education. It just can't be hard work. It just can't be pure luck. It's got to be a sum total of lot of small things I do today, which tomorrow will make my future so bright, shining, which will give me, I will not just survive, but I will thrive. I will go and I will become someone to be remembered. So what is it that I do today? So here's what I figured out. All of you, most of you, some of you were born or not born in 1987. India was playing against Pakistan in Sharjah. There's a bowler called Chetan Sharma. He comes and bowls a full toss, and Javed Miandad hits the bowler out of the park for a 6. India loses the game on the last ball of the game. Hearts are broken, shattered, dreams are broken. From there onwards, India lost the mental ability to beat Pakistan in Sharjah for a very long period of time. Until someone came back and said, we've got to learn from our mistakes. We've got to see how can we bring continuous learning in our culture and adaptability. And India started to build a team. Times change. India is playing a 2020 World Cup final in Melbourne. Virat Kohli is batting. We are almost on the verge of losing a game, and he magically turns the game around, and India defeats Pakistan, literally snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat. Wow, what had happened? How come a team that was losing every single game a couple of decades ago has become a champion team, a winner? They're gone. It's assumed that if India is playing, they're going to win. If they don't win, it breaks us. And then the lesson I learned was that adaptability. Virat Kohli is not trying to hit every ball the same way. He's playing on the merit of the ball. I think if we incorporate continuous learning in our system and we become adaptable to situations that are coming to us, we will become nobody can predict us anymore. And therefore, I found out the first lesson that separates 10x students from average students are the ones who develop a culture of continuous learning and adaptability to the situation. If you are flexible and adaptable, if you bring that culture in you, it is bound to make you successful. But it just can't be one adaptability and continuous learning. There's got to be more than that. So, for those who play soccer, for those who watch soccer, World Cup 2020 FIFA was taking place, Argentina versus France. Lionel Messi, everybody's hero. For those who don't understand football, still know who Lionel Messi is. That's the level of Lionel Messi. He's playing, crowds are going crazy. Not millions, but potentially billions watching on TV. And can you imagine the high pressure game where they are playing, they don't know what's happening, and the ball comes to Lionel Messi. He moves, he's moving forward, everyone's looking at him. He's communicating with the players without even talking to them in the split of a second. Effective communication. He passes the ball and they make a score. Effectively, eventually France scored another one and it went to penalty kick. But I thought that what can I learn that how effective communication, if I can inbuild in my system, it makes me a champion. Because effective communication and empathy are two traits that if I'll end up developing in me, I am starting to separate myself from the crowd. And then I started thinking, what else? The term came resilience. And I heard a lot of people talk about resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity. When adversity comes, challenge comes, problems comes, issues come, do I get depressed about it or do I see an opportunity in adversity? How can I learn from adversity? Do I have the resilience in me to bounce back? Setbacks break me or setbacks challenge me to move forward. Once the students who were able to bring resilience in them and embracing failure, it's okay. We all have setbacks. I mean, I probably have more setbacks than I've had wins in my life. And for those who are very wary of watching reels on Instagram, you will see that Michael Jordan missed almost 9,000 shots in his life. He almost 26 times missed the winning shot. And he lost more than 300 games, yet he's the greatest basketball player ever to have put his foot on the court. That means that is embracing failure. It's all right. It's no big deal. We can't, I see so many students going through depression when we read about these quota stories. And I start to think, why are we so obsessed? Why are we so much obsessed about academic success? I want to understand, is life all about academic success, or is it sum total of multiple things I can do in my life that once clubbed together could form a great future for myself? And then comes time management. Like, how do I manage my time? Am I constantly running behind? Am I able to Sir used the word prioritization. Now there is something called urgent, there is something called important. How do I distinguish between the two? So I start to put things which are urgent and important as priorities, and I start prioritizing. I am starting to make things which are more and more important to me because I need to find that balance and self-discipline. And I'll give you a story. So if you don't know who Usain Bolt is, please raise your hand. If you do not know who Usain Bolt is, the fastest runner, sprinter. In 1998 Olympics, I think that was 98, the CNN reporter goes to the room of Usain Bolt, the fastest human on earth, who can dash 100 meters in less than 9 seconds or 9.5 seconds. Crazy. You literally see him go like this. So the CNN reporter asks Usain Bolt, sir, who do you think is going to win the world gold medal in 100 meters? Because that classifies you as the fastest man or the human on earth. And he laughed and said, me. And she said, why are you so confident? He said, madam, because I wake up every single day, rain or sunshine, doesn't matter, 5 o'clock. I practice 5 hours a day consistently. You multiply the math every day, every hour, 5 hours a day, 12 months a year, 4 months, 4 years, 12 months, whatever the mathematics comes. It's about 24 crore seconds. I have practiced 24 crore seconds in last 4 years to run a 9-second race. That's my relentless repeatability. I'm doing the right thing again and again and again and again. And therefore, nobody but me will win the gold medal. That year, he did not win the gold medal. He broke the world record in 100, 200, and 4x100 meters. He won all 3 golds with 3 world records. That's self-discipline. Can you bring that in you? Because champions are not born from another planet. They are amongst us. If we can identify the champion within us, then nobody can stop us. But the idea is, do we have that level of self-discipline? And the 5th one was a healthy mind and a healthy body. How healthy are you? Are you taking care of your health? Both physical and mental. Because if you are not healthy, if you're not balancing your lifestyles, if you're not becoming the best version, the healthiest version, both mentally and physically, you will always have constraints in moving forward. So with that, I figured out that these 5 things, if any student starts to embrace in her or his life, they are bound to shine in future. I read about a story of South Pole exploration in 1911. 2 explorers decided to conquer South Pole for the very first time in their lives, 1911. The first one's name was Ronald Amberson, and the second one was Robert Scott. These 2 explorers embarked on a journey to conquer the South Pole. Ronald Amberson was a Danish explorer. He said, you know what, it is going to test my best of the best of the best of the best ability, and therefore it can't be easy. He started to practice. He understood how to build stamina, bicycling for thousands of kilometers, living with Eskimos to understand how they are living in such harsh environments, learning that why dogs are the most important form of transportation in ice and not horses. Whereas the other explorer, Robert Scott, tacked on the machinery, snowmobiles. They had just been invented, but they were never tested in those conditions because nobody had been ever in those conditions. The bottom line is, Ronald Amberson actually summited the South Pole, came back alive. Robert Scott, you guys can Google this, effectively lost his life in his journey. And in this book, in his final point, he writes that I was not prepared. So preparation. And that's what debate teaches us, to prepare, to prepare. So why is it that some students have the courage to come here and stand and debate, and why some of us don't want to debate? Why is it that some students pick up the choice to become a participant in a quiz competition, while some of us do not want to become participants? It's the preparation. Are we prepared? Are we going to do that? Now some of us may say, well, that person was lucky, you know, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So I want to introduce another term to you guys as students called return on luck. Luck goes both ways, good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. Successful people capitalize on both good as well as bad. When bad luck strikes, what benefit can you derive from it can make you super successful. And with that, I want to tell a very quick story in 60 seconds. Why is it that Bill Gates is the most successful IT software giant in the world, and why not Navneet Mathur, or why not one of you? Why? In whole of United States of America, there was only one person who could think of Microsoft? No, absolutely not. Then why him? And why not someone else? So the story goes that Bill Gates was a student in one of the high schools in Seattle, in Washington. And the teacher, the principal of that high school, was very curious to get a computer for their students, but at that time they did not have the money. So the teacher was handicapped, and he was always struggling that I don't have money to buy a computer because that's the future of the world. So he goes to the mothers of the students and says, next time you have a lucky dip or a fete or a party, can you give me the profits of those events from the school so that I can buy my kids a computer? Fortunately, the mothers agreed. Now, this is all luck forming together, because there were thousands of other high schools with millions of other mothers, with thousands of high school principals who never thought of this. And then effectively the computer comes, Bill Gates gets attached, they get really attached, and they form a group of 3 students who are obsessed about computer. And he talks about this in his Netflix documentary, that 3 of us were so crazy about it, we had one leader who was the sharpest. Unfortunately, the school one day went on a hiking trip. Outdoor sports is very common in North America. The student falls off and he dies. The leader of the pack of 3, 1 in a million cases. What are the odds of someone passing away on a hiking trip? Highly unlikely. As much as oxygen masks falling from an aircraft that we're supposed to put. Highly unlikely, but it happens. But Bill Gates doesn't give up. He and Paul Allen continue on their journey. They continue the legacy of the lost friend, and they land up actually becoming crazy about the computers, formally forming Microsoft Computers, Bill Gates, Paul Allen, the founders, and today that's why they are here. It's not just always luck. You've got to capitalize on the luck also. So as students, I want to talk, it's really, really important to become that 10xer for the future. It's really, really important to identify where does my opportunity lie. Because I'm telling you today, the outside world is fabulous. It is filled with phenomenal opportunities. If you have the talent to shine, the stage is right outside waiting for you if you go out there prepared. Imagine coming to a debate not prepared. How would you perform? Terrible, right? And if I were to tell you outside this room, the future waiting for you is amazing. You guys can do fabulous, whether it's CEOs, whether it is in the field of medicine, whether it's in the field of entrepreneurship, social service. You pick the field you want, and the opportunity is there waiting for you. If today you make it a point to become obsessed about the success of your future, you start doing the right things. It's like going to the gym. You just follow. You just keep following your teachers, your guides, your mentors. You will get a great body because that's just an outcome. And with that, I want to thank you all for letting me be here. It's absolute honor. I am delighted. Sorry if I said something which I shouldn't have. I apologize for that. Please don't listen to me what my snap score with my son is bad. Don't get into it too much. But wishing you all the very best. Wishing you all the very, very best for upcoming future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I request you to please remain on the stage as we move on to the most awaited part, the result declaration.
We witnessed 4 debates in the quarterfinals today, and we have the best speakers from each of them, who are Shubhi Gatani, Mayoor College, Girls, Ajmer. Rishank Rawat, Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur.
Tanish Agrawal, the Scindia School, Gwalior. Tanya Srivastav, Mayoor Chowpasni School, Jodhpur. Moving on, the Best Speaker Award for the semi-final round 1 goes to Tanish Agrawal, the Scindia School, Gwalior.
The Best Speaker Award for the semi-final round 2 goes to Rishank Rawat, Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur.
Let's move on to the Best Speaker Award for the final round, which goes to Anirudh Gupta, Jayashree Periwal High School.
Our adjudicators have unanimously identified 2 potential speakers and have decided to acknowledge their performance. So, the award for the most promising speaker goes to Rishank Rawat, Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur.
Ivy Khati, Mayo College Girls School, Ajmer. And the award for the overall best speaker goes to Tanish Agrawal, the Sindhya School, Gwalior. And now, the most awaited announcement. I'd first invite the runner-up team to the stage, and it is the Sindhya School, Gwalior. Prataksh Sharma,
Lakshay Arora,
Tanish Agrawal.
Now, let me request the winning team, Jayashree Periwal High School, to come on stage and receive their prizes, followed by the duly vied for Mayoor Invitational English Debates Running Trophy 2024. Rishabh Rawat,
Anirudh Gupta,
Ojasvi Bhatia. Congratulations. I request our principal to present a token of our gratitude to the chief guest.
Thank you so much, sir. These 3 days were indeed intellectually edifying for all of us. Dear participants, your presence, enthusiasm, and competitive spirit has left a mark on all. We hope to see the participating schools again the next year when we organize this competition.
But before we disperse, I invite everyone to join us for high tea at the primary stage. I request the audience to remain seated until the eminent guests depart from the hall. Thank you.